Start recording. To start, a call to order this District of Clearwater regular council meeting for Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021 at 2 p.m. Anybody have any late items they'd like to add to the agenda? If not, we're going to make one change to the, we do have.
We do need to add 14B.
Okay, 14B. Oh, we have a 14B.
Yeah, so there will be, sorry, there's two resolutions by Councillor Banford, and then 20A, which is Community Emergency Preparedness Fund.
20A.
Under other business.
Emergency Preparedness Fund, okay. And we're gonna switch two items. Items 15B and 16A will come up as 8B. So that's 15B, the development permit DP 2101, and then 16A, which is the zoning amendment bylaw 248. Under bylaws, we'll move up to after delegations, after the Wells Grey Country Vet Recruitment Coalition speaks. Okay, just so that Ursula can get on with her day, and I believe Dale Calder's on as well, so we can move things on a little bit faster for them. Okay, so adoption of the agenda with those changes. Can I get a motion? Councillor Frizzle and seconded by Councillor Sim. All those in favor? That passes. Adoption of the minutes. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none. Oh, it's moved by Councillor Banford, seconded by Councillor Taylor. All those in favor? And that passes. Moving on to delegations. Wells Grey Country Vet Recruitment Coalition via Zoom. I can think Candus is on that. I didn't notice if Liz Morrison's on there, but I see somebody else on there. You want to just go forward?
Absolutely. Thank you, Honourable Mayor and Council, for meeting with us today. Unfortunately, Liz was not available to make the meeting today. She's in Kamloops. So I have with me Margaret Neal, who's the president of the Wells Grey Riders Association, and Alice Ramsauer, who is a representative for our local 4-H. So my presentation today is a development that happened last week. We have a group that's called the Wells Grey Country Vet Recruitment Coalition. We are collaborating with the Wells Grey Riders Association, BC Backcountry Horsemen, BC Cattlemen's Association, the 4-H local division, the 3 local rescues. We are also working together with Candle Creek vet Darren himself. Is everybody able to hear me okay? Okay, I can't hear Mayor Blackwell.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have my mic on. Yeah,
oh, right. Okay.
We're just working on it here.
Okay.
Keep going. I think.
Oh, okay.
We just talk loudly. We can hear you.
Okay, no worries. So the reason I'm meeting with you today is we're requesting some funding, some financial help. We have put together the opportunity to make a 2 to 3 minute, what we would like to call a promotional recruitment video. This video would act as just a recruitment for a new vet or any interest with a new vet. We would use social media mainly to get that out. We have about $3,500 in order to do this video. So today we're asking council if we can apply for $1,000 with you guys. We also are approaching or have approached the TNRD for $1,000. We will be completing an application with the Wells Grey Community Forests for $1,000 and the North Thompson Community Foundation for $500, which would be our budget. Should that not happen, we do have other resources to go to. So we've touched base with Clearwater Rotary and the Simp First Nations. And of course, the last resort would be the general public themselves, being that we feel this is an extremely important issue that our community is facing at this time. I was part of the doctor recruitment, and I feel like this is just about as important. We have probably more patients in our area that are animal. So with anything else, Margaret, would you like to add anything, or Alice?
No, I think what you've outlined is a great plan, Candus. And I thank you and Liz for getting this off the ground. Any information about Wells Grey Riders, I can take questions on if anybody has any.
Okay. So at this time, we will be using the Wells Grey Riders Association as the driving force for the collaboration. That way, if there's any issues, it is a not-for-profit, and it's a project that we're taking on through them with the other groups. I guess that's really our presentation. It is an important cause. I know you guys know how important it is. If anyone was on the Clearwater Info Board last night, prime example. And again, this morning, if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer them. But yeah, I really want to open up to council for your questions and see where we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you on that. Yeah, we did receive a letter, I believe 2 weeks ago from Darren at Candle Creek, laying out his plans, and we've corresponded back to him the last day or so to sort of see what we can do to help with the process as well, strictly from his point of view, but knowing that this was going on. Council, any questions on this? Councillor Sim?
How's that?
Hi, I can hear you now.
Hear you now. I thank you very much for the presentation, and certainly stepping forward, acknowledging that this is going to be a potential terrible gap in our community. My question is, who have you thought about for the video, or have you gotten that far? And second, what would be kind of the content of the video?
Absolutely. So first off, we just started this last week. We are in a huge time crunch. As you know, Darren has given a date of June. So we reached out to Ken Matheson for a couple of reasons. First of all, he's got a lot of footage on file from previous videos he's done locally, including summer shots and all the beauty shots of the area. He was the one that gave us a quote of about $3,000. He said it costs about $1,000 a minute, and we were hoping for a 2 to 3 minute video. Nothing huge, something easy to download, and most importantly, something easy to share amongst your friends and so forth. Content of the video, we really want to, it's multifaceted. We want to promote our area because there's a lot more that we have to offer. We want to make it appealing to somebody to move here. I think, as you guys know, and I certainly have experienced, when people hear Clearwater or the Wells Grey country, unfortunately, a lot of people have the bad taste in their mouth from our David Shearing murder. And so what I'm trying to say is that when they hear the name, they don't necessarily get to see what we have to offer in our beautiful area. Thankfully, we have people like Chance Breckenridge who go out and take wonderful pictures and share that around, but a little video just showing what we have to offer in the adventure world, what we would have to offer for commercial space that would be available for a vet, which thankfully we do have something available at this time. And then also our group is going to work on gathering data that I think is very important for anyone that would have an interest in coming to the area. So approximately how many farms or small animals versus large animals. We feel that there's a full-time job for small animals as well as a full-time job for the large animals in this area. So we would love to see something like a husband-wife team come, or a vet and an assistant vet coming. But really, it's just about getting it out there, and this is what we have to offer. It's wintertime, it's not the greatest, so that's kind of why we were leaning towards Ken with all his footage. But that's the kind of the gist of what we would like to see in the video. It'll take, like I said, about 4 to 6 weeks to produce, and then it'll be ready to be shared on places like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I have no idea if that works, but that's my plan.
So supplemental to that, I'm just wondering, because the district had already done a promotional one on the area, etc.
Yeah.
So certainly looking for things that this video would insert, and also asking the question, with that kind of money, where does it all land? Like, where do people go find the information? So you're looking to build a bit of a business case, showcase opportunities for where it would be. Where do they go? Like, does the Wells Grey Rider have a website? Is it consider to do a shorter video or use the district one and then, you know, focus on the energies on landing it on a website or somewhere concrete? I don't know what your group has thought about.
I would most certainly hope that the district would be able to put it on their website or link to the Wells Grey Riders would certainly be able to put it on their website. And I think we'd like it to be open for everyone to share and a common message to get out there, not just our rescue groups giving out a message or just our equine groups giving out a message to people. We would like it to be a common message that is sent out. So if, for instance, when it's finished, I'd like to see, I will be sharing it on Facebook and, you know, put it on the info board so that anyone can share with their family. Perhaps there's somebody who has family in Alberta or the East Coast or somewhere else in BC that's looking to relocate. This is a great area. And I really feel like right now is actually kind of a good time because there are homes available for purchase and, you know, there is commercial space available should that be a route they want to go. There's just a lot of opportunity at this time. We don't have closed doors. Our doors are very open. The money itself, I don't know what he uses it for, but for us, it would just be to acquire the video. And then we do have a small miscellaneous budget in there. Should we, you know, eventually have to pay to get it listed on a vet, you know, board or site or something like that. Unfortunately, at this time, we just got into it. Our research is shortened, but we are just thinking ahead that this might be a situation that arises.
Thank you. Great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Councillor Banford has a question.
Sure.
Just
quickly, you got your mic on?
Councillor Sims' thoughts, and I guess I'll look at the same thing, Candus, just how do you get it out as broad an area as you have? I mean, we do have the other promotional video, and I don't know, it's more of a staff thing. I mean, whether we can put the need out through a municipal thing where it goes to all the other municipalities and what they do with it. I mean, we could send it to every other municipality in BC with, if you had a little blip, a message that we could send out with it saying, here's what happened, here's where we are, here's a link to a promotional video, here's a link to this that we already have in existence. The same type thing might be the Cattlemen's Association, some of the other things. If all those people sent out the same advertisement, let's say the same advertisement, I'm calling it, a need right now for a vet to come in, that might be the first step right away. And you might get some response from that, linking it to our website and maybe some of the promotional videos that are already in existence. It's just another thought. I think the key is to get the word out to as many people as possible.
So at this time, it's my understanding, and I know Liz has been more in contact with the Ludbrooks regarding this, but Darren has contacted his vet board and put the word out that this area will be looking for a new vet. As far as I understand, he's also contacted some veterinarian colleges. That would be another avenue we would be going, is sending it to all the colleges. I forgot to mention, which is really important, is we are hoping that our shy little vet would put a piece in this video as well. He's been asked and he hasn't declined, but it would be really nice if we can get him to give a little bit of experience, and there will be a, you know, animal twist on it. I know we've got a lot of footage of our area so far, so that's kind of where the extra expense comes in, is there's still a lot to cater just to this particular cause.
Thank you. Any further comments from council? Questions? Yeah, I think, Candus, that the biggest issue on this one, I mean, the video is a great idea. It's something that would be tailored specifically to rural and pet life in the area to complement some of the stuff that's already been done, like the district video. And you're right, Ken has lots of footage, but I think the critical thing, and you're really early in this, is getting good data for a business case for potentially a small animal vet and a large animal vet to come to this area. One of the comments that I did hear from both Darren and Linda in conversations over the last while is that Clearwater per capita seems to have a ridiculous number of animals per person versus other areas that they've worked in. And, you know, we're on the edge of rural, and it seems that every time you get one step farther out from the city, you add 3 animals to your household. So good luck. And obviously we don't respond to these instantly, but I think we'll have to have a conversation to bat this around. I guess it's fairly time sensitive to you, but we don't make that decision at this meeting. So we'll get back to you when we have a decision. Okay.
I appreciate your consideration. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your presentation and good luck. And thank you for stepping up to do the good work on this one.
Absolutely. And myself and Liz are available anytime should you guys have any further questions.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
And then we're moving on to item 15B, Development Permit DP 2101. And I see we both have Alex and Ursula on here. I don't know who's going to present on this one, or is this the one we're presenting on right now, which is page 16 of your report.
So yeah, that'll be me presenting. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm just going to give a brief overview summary for this application. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, good. Thank you. So this development permit is for form and character of a new development. So the owners are proposing a new saloon restaurant with 2 residential units on the 2nd story. The building is proposed at 421 Wildwood Road, so on the corner of Wildwood and Clearwater Valley Road. The proposed uses all comply with zoning. The owners do intend to have liquor service, so they will need to obtain authorization from the Liquor and Cannabis Regulation Branch. I have not received an application to date, but I do expect that we'll be getting an application in the near future to gather community input on that aspect. The building proposed will be approximately 1,400 square feet, and detailed plans have been provided for the site, building elevations, and landscaping. And staff recommends approval as the proposed building and site layout substantially meet the development permit guidelines for form and character. So we're recommending approval.
Thank you. Any questions from council on this one? This one's been a long time in the works. The proponents on this one came to this group quite a long time ago on this one. It's an interesting project for sure. Yeah, about a year. So if there's no questions, Councillor Sim.
Did I hear right that it's 1,400 square feet, and that's just the bottom? It wouldn't include the 2 upper units.
That's correct. That's the building footprint size. So the square footage taking up the space on the lot.
Great. Yeah, it's an exciting dimension to that corridor.
Okay, if there's nothing further, there's a recommendation that the development permit DP 20-01 be issued for the property at 421 Wildwood Road, legally described as Lot 8, District Lot 73, KDYD Plan 34224. Somebody like to move the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Sim, seconded by Councillor McKenzie. It's a whiskey bar. Did we mention that? That's the proposal behind this one. So, you know, all those in favor, and that passes. Excellent. Thank you so much. And then we'll move on to bylaws, RZ 2101. And we'll get onto that one. Thank you.
Perfect. And I do believe I have a presentation for this one. I don't know if we're able to pull that up.
Yeah, just give us a second and we'll get there.
Okay, thank you.
We like pictures.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, we have it screen shared at this point.
Okay, perfect. I guess I'll just motion when to change the slide.
Yeah, just say next slide because he can sort of see what you're doing here, but we're good to go.
Okay, sounds good. So this is a zoning amendment application put forth by Peak Vavenby Properties. They are the applicant and the owner of the property. Next slide, please. So the subject site is a large parcel. It's about 535 acres and it's located at the edge of the district boundary. The property is currently vacant aside from some remaining bleachers that have stayed there from since the historic racetrack use. Next slide. So the parcel is split designated in the official community plan as rural resource and industrial. The existing racing oval is entirely within the industrial land use designation. And so no changes are proposed to the official community plan. Next slide. So the parcel has split zoning, RL1 rural and I2 light industrial. No changes are proposed to the RL1 portion, but the I2 portion is proposed to have a site-specific amendment to allow racetrack use. Next slide. So staff is proposing to add a new definition to the zoning bylaw for racetrack. Although there was a historic racing oval, there was this land use was not defined within the zoning bylaw. So this definition was put forth by the applicant, but planning staff recommended the additional clarification at the end that's underlined. And I'll just go ahead and read this full definition as well. So racetrack means an area of land other than a road used primarily for the sports of racing vehicles, including, without limiting the generality of the foregoing, racing cars, stock cars, go-karts, and motorcycles, with or without related bleachers, spectator stands, refreshment booths, food concessions, or other structures or uses accessory thereto, but does not include a traveler accommodation use, such as a motel or hotel, campground, or permanent retail stores. So this added section that was underlined was because staff felt the definition put forth originally was a little open-ended, and that created a little bit of uncertainty about what could be considered accessory. So that was to provide some more clarity on the land use that was proposed. So if the proponent in the future or future land use owner wanted to have any of those underlined uses, they would need to apply for a new rezoning, which would trigger a new public process. The applicant is aware of this definition and they have confirmed that it meets their intent for the property. Next slide. So this ortho image just shows the existing racing oval. Next slide. And this aerial imagery just shows it a little bit better. And these images help to highlight the reasons for staff's recommendation of the proposed rezoning. So the main reason, or one of the reasons that staff supports the proposal is that the racing oval currently exists and it was historically used for several years for racing events. Because of this history, staff don't anticipate there to be as many community concerns as if it was an entirely new use. The aerial imagery also helps to show that there are a few vegetative buffers between the racing oval and the nearest residentially used or zoned land. So that would help to provide some separation to mitigate any concerns around dust or aesthetics. And this imagery also shows that there are multiple access points to the property. There's 3 of them. And this helps to address the fire department's concerns around access. So those concerns have been addressed because there's multiple access points to the parcel. The fire department was satisfied with that because during large scale racing events, they mentioned they would need secondary access in case of emergency. And finally, the proposal does support official community plan objectives around tourism and arts and culture, and it is anticipated to have positive economic spin-off effects. Next slide. These are just some site photos that the applicant provided that show what the racing oval looks like and the existing very limited infrastructure on the site that's remaining. Next slide. That's just some additional photos showing the rest of the oval. And next slide, please. So this last slide just helps to highlight the 3 access points. So the main access is the one that's showing the curved line, and the 2 additional access points are asterisked. And then the proponent also identified the existing cleared areas on the site that would be proposed for parking for the events. And I'll leave it open to questions.
Any questions on this one? So this, if we do go to bylaw here, this will go for 1 second reading. We'll take it to public hearing. So this is going to go out into the public for comment. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And I just would want to add, sorry, one thing is that the proponent did install a development sign on the property. That was a couple of weeks ago now, I believe. I haven't heard anything from the public on this proposal yet. But of course, if first and second reading are passed, we will be mailing the notices to owners and occupiers and placing the proposal in an ad in 2 consecutive issues of the paper.
Thank you. Further questions from council? Councillor Sim?
Oh, I think her microphone may be turned off.
It is.
Starting again for the second time. I just wondered if we put this out to the Tourism Association for their comment, or does that come through at the public hearing? I just note your comments about potential economic opportunities through tourism. The current tourism tagline is the Canada you imagined. I don't know if this ties into it or not, or do we just leave it for that public hearing?
Yes, thank you. So they were not specifically referred on the application, but they would find out about it through the public hearing notification process.
Other questions, comments? Seeing none, what's the desire of council?
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Taylor, seconded by Councillor Frizzle. Thank you for the presentation. So I read the bylaw now, right? Thank you. I'm a little foggy today. So first reading, District of Clearwater bylaw number 243 to 2021, a bylaw to amend the District of Clearwater zoning bylaw number 133, whereas an application RZ 2101 for amendment to the zoning bylaw number 133 has been made, and whereas the desirable changes in uses of land have been considered, and whereas the zoning amendment conforms to the District of Clearwater official community plan. Now therefore, Council of the District of Clearwater in an open meeting assembles and acts as follows. This bylaw may be cited as District of Clearwater zoning bylaw number 133, amendment bylaw number 248, read for the first time, 2021. All those in favor? That passes. And then, so the second recommendation is that this be taken to public hearing. Does somebody wish to move and second that one? Moved by Councillor Taylor, seconded by Councillor Sim. District of Clearwater bylaw number 248-2021, a bylaw to amend the District of Clearwater zoning bylaw number 133. Whereas an application number RZ-21-01 for amendment to zoning bylaw number 133 has been made, and whereas the desired changes in use of land have been considered, and whereas the zoning amendment conforms to the District of Clearwater official community plan, now therefore Council of the District of Clearwater in an open meeting assembles and acts as follows. This bylaw may be cited as District of Clearwater zoning bylaw number 133, amendment bylaw number 248, 2021. All those in favor? And that passes. And now it goes, we'll start the public hearing process whenever the next scheduled meeting, and we can get two newspaper advertisements. Thank you for your presentations, and thank you, Dale, for hanging on the line there. We'll move on to the next bit of business here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Dale Calder is, Dale, just introduce and wave yourself maybe a little bit while you're on here so we can let you go for the rest of the meeting. Dale is part of the Merritt Raceway team, and we can't hear you for some reason, but maybe you're not coming on there. Anyways, she's one of the organizers of this from the Merritt side. She's been up as one of the volunteers and organizers. I met her, I think, last fall out there at the racetrack when they were first starting to hack things down and get things cleaned up. So this is, yeah, she's the driving force behind this. So there you go. Okay, thank you. Sorry, the audio is not working at your end, but we'll just continue on with the meeting. Thank you for coming out, and we'll probably see you at the public hearing or hear from you anyways, depending on how we proceed with a public hearing in the time of COVID. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but probably a combination is, yeah, okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay, moving back to the regular agenda. I'm just going to turn off this for a second here. Distracting when you can see your own face on the camera and you're talking. So that moves us back to reports. Of course, I forgot to make my notes all out here. So on February 17th, the Climate Caucus elected call had a really excellent meeting with Minister George Heyman to talk about the River Road issue, temporary repair. Hope to hear some good news on that in the near future. And we started the financial plan first meeting that evening, as well as CAO stuff. 18th was TNRD Committee of the Whole meeting, 19th, or sorry, regular meeting, and the 19th was the TNRD Committee of the Whole as well. Some interesting information coming from there that I'll speak at another time. Phone calls with Minister Osborne talking about issues on the 23rd. 22nd was Climate Caucus. Agenda setting also on the 24th. Local health services on the 24th as well. Lots of discussion about the need for housing for doctors. It's a critical issue in this town. Hopefully we'll have some good news moving forward on that in the near future, but we really do need to solve the professional housing shortage in Clearwater and hopefully sort out our rental issues as well. On the 25th, I missed the call on the Mayor's Vaccine Roundtable, but I think Ms. Brew was on that one. Lots of interesting planning going on around vaccine rollout in British Columbia. Yesterday evening was Wellsbury Community Forest, and I think Councillor Banford's got some stuff to bring forward on that one. Moving on to Council reports, Councillor Banford.
Thank you, Mayor Blackwell. Just a little quiet for me, kept up on our emails during the last couple of weeks, did the questionnaire for some workshops we're having tomorrow and the next day, and attended the Wellsbury Forest Commission meeting, and I'll report on that later on.
Thank you. Councillor Frizzle. Just remember to use your mics. I don't know if everybody, that's okay. I didn't know, I couldn't tell actually from here. So, but because it's on the recording, and Stephanie, I see from the paper, is probably listening, either that or recording in. So for the record, Councillor Haring is not here. He's away on business. Councillor McKenzie.
Thank you, Mayor Blackwell. Not much to report in these last couple of weeks for me, minus my 15 minutes of a budget workshop. Other than that, it was pretty minimal for these last couple of weeks.
Thank you, except for, you know, soggy and foggy and slippery and everything out there in the real world. Yes. Councillor Sim.
Thanks very much. I'll echo the comments of the budget as well as the SILGA presentation last week. And I do note that tomorrow for the 1 hour discussion, it's going to be TELUS representatives, Bell representatives, and then a representative from the Ministry of Social Development and Communications. So last week we had some great technical difficulties which heighten the excitement for this conversation tomorrow. So it will be interesting because it is the Silver region. Many of us share that issue about how we grow, how does it work, and what can we expect from our telecommunications partners. Lots of sort of chitter chatter about, you know, people coming in, you know, the TMX starting up, so many different dynamics. I had spoken to Ms. Grew earlier this week, and between the two of us, we wondered if maybe it was time to redo that community survey that we did 2 years ago. In the 2 years since we've done it, we've lost a mill, had some forest fires and a pandemic, and gone through ups and downs with TMX. What would it look like if we put that exact survey out and then did the comparisons? Just do a pulse point about where we're at in terms of our community values. We talked a lot about that around the table, is are we growing with shared values? We also had some things about where priorities should be. And looking, for me, it would be super interesting to see what's changed, what hasn't changed. And it's a nice time point. We already have the template. So I just wondered Council's thoughts on that and if it would be on social media.
Thoughts, Council? Councillor Taylor, Councillor Banford?
I mean, is it easy? Okay. So I was just thinking about collating all the results and everything, if that's a fairly straightforward process. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's done.
It's just a hit resend?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's good to have that consistency so you can see what's changing, what's shifting.
Good data. Anyways, is always good because it always tells the case for a business case or a social business case, whatever it happens to be.
We also set some of our priorities based on it because we had a number of people coming back to us.
So do we need a motion on that?
Sure.
Somebody wish to make a motion to put the survey back out again?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion that council direct staff to republish our survey from 2019 out into the community.
Seconder on that? Yeah, second by Councillor McKenzie. All those in favor? Yeah, I think it's a great idea, especially an apples to apples type of comparison. And it would really be great right now with the last calendar year, because this is about now last year that we really got into the thick of this, to feel how people are feeling, and it'll kind of trigger that. So that's a great idea. Anything further, Councillor Sim?
No, I guess you've raised a good point. Is we did have something in just even that, how are you feeling? And doing even that financial check-in. Yeah. You know, which I think is an easy amendment to it. And I think we had done something like it. Just fine tune it with that. And you raised a good point. Like, you know, it's been a heck of a year. Yeah, how are you?
Councillor Taylor.
So relatively quiet on the 23rd of February. Obviously, we had the budget workshop, and then later that evening, I attended the Hockey Association's AGM. It was really good to see the amount of people from the public putting their name up for volunteer positions, as well as the engagement. There was a lot of people who turned up to vote, and either live or via Zoom. So it was great to see that level of engagement, and hope that continues.
Excellent. Yeah.
Congratulations on your appointment.
Oh.
I was appointed as the treasurer, but it wasn't voted. It was an appointment. But yeah.
Well, thank you.
It's going to be fun to work with them.
Yeah,
sure.
Entertaining, I'm sure. Hockey always is entertaining. Just a further note to that, I did notice that Dr. Henry is indicating that we're not that far off from some opening of restrictions that are currently in place. So doesn't help with the hockey season, but it may help with the next sports seasons this summer for sure. Soccer, yes. The nice budget responsible sport. No $400 in gear, just a nice pair of Please. Okay, now where are we? Okay, we're on to, right, next page, Committee of the Whole minutes. Minutes of the Economic Development Committee of the Whole meeting held February 16th, recommendation. And the next one's yours as well. Oh, sorry, you have to vote on the last one. So you seconded by Councillor Banford. All those in favor, that passes. Thank you. We've done things legally. Next meeting is February or May 18th. Infrastructure, Councillor Sim.
We had a meeting earlier today and we have two recommendations to bring forward, if I could do that now. The first recommendation, the Infrastructure Committee, the full forward recommendations to Council as follows: that the district schedule an open house for the purposes of communicating to the public with regards to cell number 1, phase 2 proposal for sludge management, which will be done in conjunction with an overview of sewer expansion for the community as a whole. For the exciting report, please refer to the infrastructure meeting agenda.
Right, seconded by Councillor McKenzie. All those in favor? Okay.
The second recommendation refers to the completion of the crack and chip sealing. There is a report that we heard today. However, with this very strange weather pattern that we've had, Ms. Grew had done a review with our roads contractor, and it was felt that maybe a second look needed to be done in the spring. So council made the recommendation for option number B.
Sorry, I don't have my handy, so. It's on the 4th page, I think.
Is it on page 19? Oh,
yeah.
So that staff, so with that discussion and with that information and with roads being so important to the community, that staff be directed to bring back a report with more information to include major maintenance requirements, such as road segments that would benefit from pavement overlay for further consideration.
Okay, seconder on that. Just a point of discussion, and I should have offered the last one up for point of discussion. Pothole repairs, etc., will be ongoing. Part of the reason for doing this is to wait till after street sweeping and things dry out, so we can get a better look at the final conditions of winter damage versus what we're doing right now. All those in favor? Did you have a further comment? Yeah.
Just you raise a good point that I think that the community will be also noticing some of the potholes are being filled now, and some of the work, in particular, some areas where there's been a lot of weaving. That's in progress, which is good. And I think the other exciting news about moving this report to the spring is that there's some other road projects that are going in, so that they can be married together, and some cost savings, which I think is always good.
And look for the incredibly exciting how potholes work, how potholes are repaired, and you and your pothole report coming out to public channels through you, hopefully social media and district newsletters or whatever is potentially out there. Moving on to.
And our next meeting will be June the 1st.
Thank you, Councillor Sim. Parks and Rec, Councillor McKenzie. Next meeting. Finance and Audit, the meeting that never ends, Councillor Taylor.
Next meeting, April 20th.
Oh, wow, that's a long way away.
So yeah, we've got a bit of a break then.
There you go. Councillor Haring isn't here, but Joint Services Advisory Committee, next meeting is March 8th. Is that right? Yes, that's next Monday. Trails Task Force, Councillor Taylor.
So our next meeting is March 9th.
I think we had some good news on the Trails Task Force last night at the Commission, but I think Councillor Banford will mention that. Junior Council, anything happening with Junior Council?
Junior Council is struggling a little bit with just getting together. There's a couple that are interested in generally look at waiting till September. Tried to talk to them about how the facility speaker series. They don't want to do a Zoom meeting. So, I think at this point it's not any point in rushing or pushing them into something. It's sort of wait until next year.
Okay.
I think it's also important to note that one of the complications is that they are still working with their cohorts. And so that they've got a junior group and then the senior group. So it does make things a little more complicated for just them coming together. So, and you know, we've talked about schools before, so I just think it's just COVID.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, it's tough times, and for many of us, are spending way too much time on video chat, Zoom, and other things. They're spending another half an hour on there is just tough. Hopefully, things can open up here shortly. Now, where was I? Forestry Working Group, Councillor Banford.
Thank you. Our next meeting is March the 9th.
Thank you. Moving on to community representation reports, Tourism Wells Gray.
So I know that this says that our next meeting is in April, but we actually have one tomorrow.
Be interesting to get an update, see what's going on in the world. I did note that BC Parks camping reservations are going to open on schedule this year. I think it's a month ahead window or something like that. Check the website on that. That's good news. And part of that announcement is potentially first week of July that they may open reservations up to the rest of Canada. Considering that basically a fairly significant portion of Albertans come to this area, hopefully we're in a good COVID spot to allow that to happen this year. Staff reports as per policy number 20. Oh, did I miss one? 14B. Sorry, yes, there's 2 resolutions in there.
Thank you, Mayor Blackwell. So we had a meeting last night from the Wells Gray Community Forest Commission. It was a good meeting. 2 recommendations came out of it. And the first recommendation is the council approved the release, the financial contribution of $300,000 from the Wells Gray Commission Forest Commission funds to build the amenity building included in phase 5 of Evergreen Acres Senior Society project.
Okay.
Well, that's the motion I'll make.
Seconder on that? Councillor Sims seconds that. So this is part of the last phase, phase 5, I believe, and it has the big accessory building in there. So they'll have a new meeting hall as well as, I believe, 20 units of housing in phase 5. Yeah, so very exciting to use up all the land there and have to start looking for the next thing. All those in favor?
And the second recommendation, a little bit of preview to this. As you remember, the Wells Gray Community Forest gave the Trails Committee $250,000 for leveraging funds when grants opportunities came available. So one of the grants that the community has put in, Trails Committee did through the district, was underneath the Investment in Canada, and it was for the Raft River Park Drive multi-use pathway, which deals with Hospital Hill and raised crosswalks there. But we haven't heard on that grant yet. But in order, there's a really short time frame on that grant. In order, if you get the grant, you have to have it done by actually the end of the year, December. So what we wanted to do, and we took it to the committee last night, was to say, can we use $50,000 of that to do a design right now? We've got a concept, so we've got to do the actual design for it. So if we get the grant, we're a step ahead and ready to go. So there was quite a bit of discussion around it, but the motion now is that council approved an amount up to $50,000 for the District of Clearwater Trails Task Force Committee to move forward with the design and advertisement of a negotiated request for proposal to construct the Park Drive Raft River multi-use pathway for the purpose of being shovel-ready pending grant approval from Investing in Canada COVID Resiliency Infrastructure Stream.
That was a mouthful. Thank you for the explanation, because it was quite a complicated debate, and it is last night at the meeting, and it's a pretty important, due to the tragedy that occurred there, pretty important project for this community. And with the short window, it means that planning is critically important on this. Further thoughts or comments? So you moved it, seconder? Yes, absolutely. Sure, why not? All those in favor? That's excellent.
Say that aren't we lucky to live in a community where people are so supportive and forward thinking? Yeah. Like really, I mean, it's really terrific how 3 different segments come together.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of thought went into the discussion last night for sure. Moving on now to 15A, staff reports. Summary of in-camera decisions out to the public agenda. I don't think that's in the report. If anybody wants to look at it, I don't need, Ms. Grew, do you need to comment on that?
No, it's just bringing forward in-camera items. We have a policy that says every 6 months we review the in-camera items, and then council makes a resolution to bring which ones out can be brought out.
Any questions on that? I think we all know about that, so now everybody else does. And then we've already taken care of item B. And then moving on to item C, 2020 fourth quarter budget position report. Ms. Shepherd, I believe you're probably going to comment on that one.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Blackwell. There's a few journal entries left to do for the year end. We have one pay period left to post. We have a couple of overhead allocations, some year end entries. So it's not totally complete, but we're getting close. The mayor or the auditors will be here on March 15th. So we've got 2 weeks and counting. So we're getting pretty close. Everything, just to give you the kind of the Coles notes of the report, is all the expenses are within budget, and we had some low revenues that we were aware were coming, and they have been offset with reduced expenses. So just to kind of fly through it really quickly. Property taxes right on budget, 1% in grant and lieu of taxes. BC Hydro, we were short on our 1%. Revenue from the Canfor property closing, there was a significant decrease in BC Hydro. We usually get 1%. So sale of service. Transit, we were about almost $5,000 short on transit revenues. ICBC, we were about $30,000 over. Septic receiving, we were significantly over due to TMX hauling. Let's see, and we had other in there, which include the $328,000 private contribution for our roads maintenance agreement and the $200,000 Canfor legacy funds. So both of those will be going to reserve. And if we remove both of those, then we're about $11,000 over budget on that other revenues, which is penalties and interest. Interest we're a bit low on because the interest rate dropped. So it did. So, but I think we'll be seeing it for what probably next year. So unfortunately, in some ways, right?
So get everything done and don't finance anything in the next few years from the trends of the 5-year trends they're talking about. Well, what I've heard anyways, there's smarter people in the room that know more about that than I do.
So government grants and transfers, all the grants that we got in, we were right on budget there, except for a couple carry forward projects that we have, like the wildfire management. And we had a little piece carry forward 22,000 for trails project. So that's the only differences there. Scroll down, other revenue, we're 1.1 million under budget on that and that's just, it's Wellsbury Community Forest Commission. So we had budgeted 1.5 million just as a general figure for donations into the district, and we received 400,000. As you're aware, that doesn't come out of taxation. That's a self-balancing fund. So any surpluses or deficits come from the Wellsbury Community Forest Reserve. Expenses are all under budget. Like I say, salaries, wages, and benefits, add 4% to each one for the 1 pay period that's missing out of there, but everything's right where it should be. Let's see. Yeah, are there any questions on that? Well, capital expenditures, sorry. Capital expenditures, that's the huge one-page one. Because we ended up having, we started out with a budget of 3 million for capital projects, and then we added 5.5 million. So, and amendments. So we actually came in at 7.2 million with the capital projects. But everything was within budget. So unless we discussed it with council beforehand and changed things or made amendments, but everything's right where it should be.
Excellent. Questions of Ms. Shepherd on the report? Yeah.
Ms. Shepherd has done a really good job with this report.
Yeah.
And I just talked to Ruth yesterday. we definitely would again appreciate.
Further thoughts and comments? I'll just add, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the world's been turned upside down, and the fact that municipal governments, especially this one, staff has managed to come through this and end up with a budget and complete the work that they have in the last calendar year is exceptional. It's quite fabulous. And to end up in a financial position at the end of the year when all the things we looked at a year ago told us that we could have been in an incredibly scary position with cuts to staff, to projects and all that sort of thing, and to come out like this. Yeah, fabulous. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Moving on to, where are we? We've done bylaws. Correspondence required. Item 17A, there is a recommendation on Simp Resources Limited 2021 Forestry Stewardship Plan. Do anybody want to talk to this? I think we're just passing it on to the Forestry Working Group, right? So, okay. So there is a recommendation. Somebody wish to move and second it?
I'll move it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Banford. Seconded by Councillor Taylor. This is a ginormous, there's a tree loss right here in the size of this report. It is far more complex than I think I can ever understand. I think Councillor Banford could probably, and Ms. Grew probably understand it way more than any of us from their past experience. But I think it's really excellent that we have a forestry working group to pass this on to, so we can get both an industry and a stakeholder view on how council should proceed, as well as Councillor Banford stuff. Councillor Banford, go ahead.
I just think it's an appropriate place to send it. It's got all the licensees in that working group. It also has government experts on that group. So it would be a much better place to have a holistic comment come back to Simp by having to go through that process.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, an incredibly educated group there for sure. So, so moved and seconded, all those in favor, and that passes that recommendation. Climate Caucus. This letter came to me through the Climate Caucus stuff. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to read it, but I'm just going to leave it alone. And if council wants to do anything with it, that's fine. If not, we can receive for information. Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. My thought in bringing it forward, and it was sort of addressed, it was addressed to me, but the intention was that it's being brought to councils all across British Columbia, is that you have an understanding of what other communities are seeing out there in the world. So move to receive by Councillor Sims, seconded by Councillor McKenzie. All those in favor, and that's move to receive. Thank you. Moving on to correspondence information items. If there's something you wish to talk about, let me know. Provincial tree planting program. I did see something today about the program at the elementary school is being extended. That has something to do with a community forest grant. Anyways, I don't know if it has anything to do with this. And then item B, Canadian Heritage Canada Day grant. It's only how many months away? 3 months away? 3 months away today. Yeah. Tomorrow, yesterday. Cupcakes for everyone. So if there's nothing on that, we have one item under other business, item 20A. I'll let Ms. Grew speak to that. Do I have a thing on that, don't I? No, I don't. Okay.
So there is a grant opportunity under the CIP. We had chatted about this grant opportunity at the budget meeting. In speaking with Mike Simpson from the Fraser Basin Council and Mike Smith, our fire chief, we would like to put in a grant application for the updating of our Clearwater's emergency evacuation plan. We did one in 2017 during the fires, and it needs to be fleshed out a bit more to not just be about fires. And then to purchase and install equipment and supplies for the Emergency Operations Center, which has been identified as the lounge in the North Thompson Sportsplex. Also, we would be able to host, so there's up to 25,000 that you can apply for. We're getting quotes right now if council agrees with this. And then we would host training exercise to build capacity within the district staff, recognizing that myself and I believe Ms. Shepherd has some training, but mostly that's about it. And the fire chief, so we really need to bring our staff up to speed if we were to go into an emergency operations center. The application is due on March 26th. Mr. Simpson from Fraser Basin Council, as part of the Clearwater Wildfire Table, he's helping us write the grant application. Mr. Smith has been delegated to work with Peter Bradstock to find out what it would cost to do wiring into the sportsplex. We are looking at equipment like whiteboards, projector, the internet capabilities of the sportsplex, and beefing those. Training exercises, as we talked about, there's a consultant through Steve Newt that I think some of you dealt with before, that's many years of emergency management BC experience that we would use for this. And look at a satellite phone, because we don't actually have one, and we do have areas in Clearwater where we cannot get cell service. And then cell boosters for the bush track, public works, and fire department vehicles. So there's a recommendation that staff be directed to submit a grant application to UBCM's Community Emergency Preparedness Fund, Emergency Operations Center and Training Stream for up to 25,000 to include an update to the District of Clearwater's emergency evacuation plan, purchase and install equipment and supplies for an emergency operations center, and to host training exercises to build capacity within the district staff, and that the district will be responsible for the overall management of this grant program. And that responsibility would go to Mr. Mike Smith as the fire chief.
I know Councillor Haring, he's not here today, obviously, but this is a section that he has a lot of passion for. And I think this is something that he would really want to happen. Not casting a vote for him. I also, when speaking with Ms. Grew about this, the vast majority of the work, or a significant majority of the work on this, will be out of our staff's hand. Mr. Simpson and Fraser Basin Council and others will take on that work. So one of the first questions is how much load is there going to be on staff? And it sounds like most of the in-house load will be on perhaps Sportsplex staff and Fire Chief Smith. So that was a consideration as well. Any questions of Ms. Grew on this recommendation? Okay, somebody wish to move and second it? Yeah, moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Councillor Banford. All those in favor, and I think that's a great one to get done. Checking that everything, we actually at this point sort of know what might work at Sportsplex, but being able to go through a planning thing and actually check it, so that when we do show up there for the first time in an emergency, if we can't use this building, it does work. And I think your comment on a cell phone or sat phone, sorry, is spot on. We forget that it requires power to run the cell towers here. That would be a heck of a scramble if we were in a situation where we lost cell towers and regular phone lines in this town at the same time. And it's a significant wildfire possibility. So that's excellent. So that's all in favor of that. We're good to go there. Comments from the public. Do we have any comments or public? I know Annabelle has stated every single time I see her that she misses us dearly. So yes. Stephanie, do you have anything you'd like to ask while you're on the line there? If you're on the line there. Seeing nothing. We don't have an in-camera today, so motion to, nope. Nope. Okay, there we go. Hey, nope, that's good on chat. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Taylor, thank you for a good meeting, folks.